Her soft breath. That's what I woke up to. That's the first thing I heard. It was like a translucent siren was softly whispering to me, caressing my chest with its teasing whispers, soft and steady warmth playing across my skin. Next was the soft caress of her arms, the weight of her shoulder against mine, the warmth of so much upper chest skin contact, the feel of her chest pricking me with two twin half-size thimbles. Unhappily, next was the tepid water I was lying in, the temperature of a bath long since cold, but with two warm bodies keeping it just barely above freezing. However comfortable the position was, the full upper body skin contact, the encompassing mental warmth of knowing that I was, at this moment, holding someone who truly loved me. However much I wished I could stay in that moment forever, my legs were stiff, my lower back cold and sore. I had to move. I had no intention of disturbing the slumbering bird in my arms, however. I took careful movements, slow and relaxed movements, only enough to create the smallest of waves, the lightest of splashes. It was only when I slid across the bathtub, Raven still holding on to me in her slumber, my butt cheeks never leaving the base, yet sliding along just fine, the low, mournful squeal of them moving across wet ceramic. It was only when I began to move again through the pitch darkness that Raven slid into a different position against me, and I realized I was still inside of her. The pressure and warmth was so natural it felt as if everything was simply in its right place, meant to be. But the slightest position change sent a jolt through my lower body, the same kind of jolt you feel when you fapped a little too quickly and you pull your hand right away at the edge. The simple removal of your hand, almost enough to set you off, your will struggling fruitlessly against it. But the difference was that I wasn't even close myself. I wasn't even fully hard. Just the way the pressure felt, the way her insides rubbed against me as I slid. I took care to hold her still against my chest, with one arm for the rest of the trip. I didn't want to get too distracted. Eventually, on my long journey across the vast ocean, I reached my goal. The faucet, the drain. Fumbling around, I found the levers, pulleys, switches, and weight-triggered contraptions that controlled the complicated systems that was a bathtub, one I'd never used before, now in pitch blackness. By replacing a golden statue with a bag of sand and wedging a large stick against a moving wall, not to mention using my whip to pull a hidden lever, I managed to get some hot water flowing and the drain open. The loud whine of the drain once again filling the room, the roaring rush of the water filling in the gaps, the steam returning to my nostrils. This was a loud process. Bathtubs are not silent creatures, and they yell, scream, and stomp their feet about when they're poked and prodded into producing artificial lakes. But the girl in my arms did not stir. She did not squirm awake with a jolt like I expected, or scream and jump away from me before realizing where she was. She could either be deep asleep or pretending to some unknown end. Without being able to see her face, I had only her breath and her movement to tell, and neither of the last two had changed. She didn't move the entire time the bath filled again, the entire time the water temperature changed from cold to warm to nearly too hot to stand. With that completed, I turned off the taps, closed the drain, and slid to my place back against one of the vertical walls of the tub. In doing so, she shifted again. I let my arms slip free, her body pulled forward, and I felt every nerve tingle as I slipped my manhood just half an inch out of where it had been before. The tingling was accompanied by a temperature change. I'd been encased in warm at the base, and now it was hot. I'll be honest, I missed the sensation of encompassing pressure. The second it was gone, I felt it. The temperature change, the lack of squeezing, even the tickle of her wet loins against the sensitive base. I thought very much that I wanted my penis fully back in the happy place it had been before, but I worried about waking Raven. Fuck it. What could it hurt? So I thrust. Just half an inch, but I put myself back where I wanted to be. It felt wonderful. The head pressing against her cervix, the shaft massaged with friction lightly the entire way up. It was too enjoyable of a sensation, but I felt as if I was going to forget it. I needed to engrave it in again my memory. So I pulled out, just a little more than half an inch this time, and I thrust again, concentrating only on the sensations. This was a trap. I continued my ministrations. I couldn't help myself. I don't think any male would be able to. An inch out, an inch back in. An inch and a third out, an inch and a third back in. Each fourth or fifth thrust, pulling the tiniest bit more out, only to return. She seemed to be asleep the entire time, until 2. At 2 inches, she wrapped her arms fully around me and squeezed. That's the first point I realized she was awake. No other movements, no other sounds, just her soft breathing, slightly faster, and a hug. I took it as a sign I was being approved. Consent. But I continued the slow pace I had set out on. I wasn't too hard to keep going, but I had reached the physical limit of only moving my body. That is to say, every time I pulled out, I was abruptly stopped by the bathtub before I could go any further. I realized that if I was going to continue my strokes, she would need to lift her hips. Or I could do it for her. I decided the second option was the most likely. She seemed unwilling to move on her own, embarrassed, enjoying the sensations, or simply still feigning sleep. It didn't strike me that I could be hurting her before I had lifted her hips up halfway and slid them down again, before she gave a sharp inhale on the upstroke and a long exhale on the down. Oh no. I asked softly, barely a whisper, "Does it hurt?" I don't get any words in return, just an that humming sound so close to but without any tongue movement at all. I even felt the wet tips of her hair slide across my chest as she shook her head. The image in my head was adorable. I hope it is in yours too. Fears of bodily harm alleviated, I continued. The first time lifting her hips instead of mine, each stroke enticing a gasp, each down eliciting a voiceless sigh. She never stopped squeezing me tightly the entire time, her wet skin sliding across mine, her lower legs always pressing against mine, her upper only when she was sitting fully into my lap. She never said a word, let out a moan or a sound of enjoyment. I was worried. I felt like these were important, that these were what should mean I was doing the right thing. Glasses had let out plenty, but I wasn't hearing a single peep now. I had no clues or hint to her mood, only the quiet splashing and her soft breathing cycles. Frankly, as erotic and amazing the experience was, having sex in a pitch-black room, in the bathtub no less, with my best friend. It was still only my second real time, and I was desperately scared the lack of noises meant I was doing it wrong. I mean, that's how it works, right? The noises are good. Women in anime were always noisy. The sprawling lines of text and manga said so as well, and sex on TV was always loud. I was a teenage male. All I had to go off of was media. So as much as I was enjoying it, I felt internally that I was doing it wrong. Until she squeezed. It wasn't like all the other squeezes. You see, for those, she used her hands or thighs, but this squeeze was with her hands and with her thighs, partially, but it was also with her breath. She pressed herself against me and stopped her breath too. Her entire body seemed to tense up. The rest was inside of her, a convulsing tightness that fluttered and alternated. The sensation was unbelievable. It was as if multiple little hands were grabbing and squeezing me in different places, all at once. It lasted only a couple of seconds before she relaxed. The tension across her entire body that had just been created moments before melted away, but still not a single sound. I was confused, back to thinking I had broken her or something when I remembered she did the same thing the first night. All of it except the fluttering. I hadn't felt that. That was her climax. Awesome. Glasses did nothing of the sort, or she flat out lied about getting off. I was halfway torn between feeling hurt about a girl I wasn't even with and reveling in the sensations of a girl I had in my arms. I couldn't decide if Glasses had put an act on or if Raven was simply different. Sometimes I think if women knew that we were comparing them to other women during sex, I know we would never get any action again. I don't think that actually. I know that. Don't tell them, please. I wasn't sure what to make of this experience, but that wasn't any sort of reason to stop. I continued at the pace I had set, but my progress was inconsistent. Lifting a girl's hips up and down time and time again, it's not much different from lifting weights. Sometimes you pull them a tad higher, sometimes a tad lower. My arms burned, my back hurt. I was breathing rhythmically, unintentionally timing my breaths with each lift. I was getting closer and closer to orgasm myself, but I couldn't do it. I had to stop. I dropped her lightly, her pelvis grinding fully into mine. My arms flopped to my sides. I couldn't even hold her hips anymore. They burned like hell. My shoulders were even sore. It's such an interesting thought that before I lost my virginity, I didn't even realize sex was a physical exercise. I didn't realize how taxing it was to lift a girl 40 or more times just to thrust your hips against hers. Even if you get chemicals that make you feel less of a burn, give you more strength, and make you enjoy it wholeheartedly, it's still a workout. And we've been over this. I didn't even lift. I started contemplating solutions. She still wasn't doing anything but holding me. Really, it kinda sucks when the girl doesn't move at all. I could always go back to doing the 1-inch punches I had started with. I'm not Bruce Lee, but my hips didn't know that. I still can't bring myself to move, though. I'm still catching my breath. She must have been curious because... Did you... finish? Inquisitive, almost sad, breaks her vow of silence. I let out the same that she had used before. I didn't want to let on that I was tired, and I felt like talking might give it away. You can... It's all right, you know. Oh, drat. These are the kinds of things I need to think of before my penis is inside of women. The thought hadn't even crossed my mind. There were quite a few, no, it's all right, and no, I can't, that's passed through my head. I tried to be chivalrous knight in this situation, which is always a bad idea, but, you know, it's all right. We can stop. It was a dumb idea, but I had made her climax once. I figured she was good. She would be satisfied. That made sense in my teenage brain. But you see, that's not how it works, Anon. For a female, sex is a different beast than it is for a male. The different genders tend to focus on completely separate things, where for a male, the high points of sex are the climax or the enjoyment of providing pleasure to the woman. Everything else comes second. For women, climaxes are great. They'll ride each one out like a heroin high, but those cheating bastards get to have more than one, and even worse still, as a result, the sex isn't about a single climax. It's spread out across the entire experience. The feeling of a man holding you in his arms, the feeling of that same man thrusting inside of you, and yes, each orgasm, and the final knowledge that you've satisfied him, as well as the psychological aspects of feeling important, loved, and needed by that male, even if it's just for those moments. She wasn't. No, it's all right. My response is blunt. She's got to understand. No, it's not. That seems to get the point across. Now she knows what I'm thinking, why I'm ready to stop here. Getting her pregnant is not on my list of things to do today. It is. I just didn't tell you. What? If your best friend ever says these words to you while you're having sex with her, or him, run. Remember how about a month or two ago I said my stomach was hurting? Remember. Fuck, she bitched at me for like a week about that. Not even like normal bitching, turbo bitching. Had to be nice to her for the entire week. She wasn't on her period that week though. I had those planned out as avoid or bribe with food days in my mind. You'll do that one day too, Anons, when you have a close female friend. You'll forget to do it once, and never again will those dates leave your mind. And don't imagine you won't get a female friend. You will, eventually. It's like a curse you can't escape. And if you're wondering, right now is right around those days of the month. I wasn't sure how the cycle worked exactly, but you can tell now why I was so willing to just stop. She continues her story. Well, it ends up they were just cramps, but the doctor did a full checkup to figure that out. He prescribed me some meds. They weren't too bad, but she's crying. I can hear it in her voice. I'm not liking this story anymore. I actually want to stop the story and continue my life without hearing it. You know, when you can tell it's just not going to end well and you should bail now. Well, I didn't bail. Stupid me. He said something about scar tissue, about it being twisted. She broke down into silence at this point. I didn't need to hear more. I didn't understand why she didn't tell me. I was her best friend, for fuck's sake. She had told me everything about her life. I didn't understand if it was too personal or if she was just hurt. I didn't understand how she had hidden it from me or why. There's only one question to ask in a situation like that. Why didn't you tell me? I'm not trying to be harsh. It's soft, meaningful. It's an absurd contrast to my harsh, uncaring personality earlier. I briefly considered the idea that I may be bipolar or suffering from some insane mental disease. Considering I'm fitting off into imagination land so often, I wouldn't put it past myself. The answer I get from her is anything but insane. It's really quite typical, cliché even. I thought you wouldn't like me if you found out. Those aren't happy words, and they aren't composed of happy sounds, and they aren't coming out of a happy throat. Of course, out of all the things it could be, though, it's that one. She's thinking that I somehow would think of her as a lesser person if she told me. I should have realized. She was hiding her chest size, stuffing or wearing padded bras around me. She had been my best friend for years, and what she had said was completely true. She had been in love with me, trying to attract me and appeal to me for years now, and she felt that somehow, somewhere, it wasn't worth telling her best friend about what had obviously been hurting her for months, because it would make him less likely to like her, less likely mate material. That thought, more than anything else, hurt. Whatever it was not all right. It was not all fine or okay. There were connections in my mind, and that should be in your mind about why this had happened. There are places you hit people when you want to make the scars and bruises visible, and places you hit when you don't want them to show. Cowards will hit those weaker than them in the stomach, kidneys, and liver. It's where you hit someone to hurt them without others knowing, where you hit someone who has to go to school the next day. It's also the most painful. Remember, I compared being hit in the kidneys and liver to full spinal pain, to being kicked in the balls. The entire area is a mess of nerves, bundles of sensitive organs, even more so for women. Anons that have been in a fight know. Each hit is the worst thing you've ever felt, until the next one comes. It didn't go over so well with a developing uterus. I knew that if I ever met the man, he wouldn't walk away. She's not liking my silence, my murderous contemplation of ways to kill her abusive father. She takes it as any insecure teenager would, as confirmation of her worst fears. She had a backup plan, it seemed. Words that she had repeated over and over in her head to make herself feel better. Words she cried out, a mixture of forced happiness and sobbing. He said it can get better when I'm older, that there's surgery and medicine I can take. It sounds like she's desperate, like it's some shot in the dark. But I guess everyone sounds like that when a doctor gives you some hope like that. He said it's not too bad, that I can have children if I stop her with a kiss. I don't need to hear anymore. She may think that pleading and trying to tell me it's all good and dandy is what she should be doing to make me like her more, but it's not. I don't even like kids. I'm not planning on having kids anytime soon. It's not a talk, not a conversation I need in my life right then. Frankly, as much as I was angry and hurt about this revelation, it was to my benefit. As much as I hated to admit it, it was convenient. Yes, I was a gigantic dick, but you're in my head. No complaining. The kiss, as expected, tasted awful. Not vomit again in the tub awful, but pretty bad. We broke apart pretty quickly. There weren't any words involved, but I could hear her lean down and swish some water in her mouth and then spit it out. I did the same. We probably both tasted awful. She was weird though. Long after I had cleansed the flavor out of my mouth, she was still leaning over and gargling and spitting. I hear her slurping at the water every time. It's pretty funny to listen to. It really is like the sound you would make saying pew while inhaling. She seems to slurp, and then I feel her weight shift as she comes up, seemingly without spitting. Next thing I know, her lips are on mine. Next thing I know, there's water in my mouth. Then my lungs. Yeah, I'm sure her idea of romantically sharing water with me in some kind of dirty mouthwash kiss was great. I'm sure it worked out amazingly in her head, but in reality I had no clue it was coming and just inhaled like an idiot. There was a lot of burning, a little bit of choking, a lot of coughing and sputtering. I'm pretty sure it was some payback for me trying to drown her. She started laughing pretty quickly. Lovely laughter, ringing across the entire bathroom. My favorite sound when I was younger. I would have been angry. I mean, in any other situation, I would have been annoyed at least. But I was still inside this woman, and she was laughing. She had her hands on my shoulders. Nothing to stop her lower torso from moving and wiggling as she giggled. And the muscle contractions of her giggling and flexing her stomach. It was fucking amazing. I'm pretty sure I had a second wind there. Placed my hands around her waist and plunged as deep as I could go from wherever it was at the time she was laughing. She shut up quick. The laughter turned off like a faucet in a Jewish household. I wasn't worried anymore. I had realized before that she was enjoying it, even if she wasn't very vocal. Complete opposite, really. Every time I pressed up against her cervix, her hands squeezed my shoulders tighter, complete with the gasp and sigh cycle from earlier. It was wonderful. I knew I was having an effect on her now. But my second wind didn't last very long. 20 hard, full thrusts, and I was out of strength. I couldn't do anything but leave my hands where they were and ask for help in the most manly way possible. Your turn. I kind of sat there completely still. I was hoping she would get the idea and help out. You know, realize I was dead tired because I was doing all the work. As good as this felt, it was some damn one-sided sex. We sat there for a good minute before I got fed up with the lack of movement on her end. I want you to finish us off. I tried to make it sound like a request, not a demand. It was a demand. She seemed to give a start at that. Lifted up and about an inch, dropped down again. I think she surprised herself because she let out the first actual vocal sound she'd done since I had entered her. It was a high-pitched something, surprised sound. But it was a sound. Progress, she continued, much slower than I would have liked. Smooth and painfully slow, she rose on her knees until I had only an inch or two inside her. Then, just as slowly, she seemed to lower herself down again. It was different. The friction was slow and building. She was using the hands on my shoulder as not only support, but leverage to rise up. She was making sounds. Little quiet hmms and ahs every once in a while. It was different. It was lovely, but it was still too slow. I tried to make this clear with a faster, but she didn't change the pace. It wasn't until I added a please that she settled down all the way and ground her hips into mine. She had me begging. I was a lost cause, but even still the plea worked, and she was moving much faster now. I was building to my own climax nicely. I even could roll my hands across her body, an action I realized I had been neglecting entirely to do. As I explored her curves, her breasts, and her behind, I quickly found she was far more verbal with touches than she was with just sex. Her buttocks would make her sigh contently if I traced my fingers along them. Her sides would make her giggle the slightest bit. For a while, I even contemplated tickling her until I could achieve my own climax. A mean but tempting solution in my mind. But her breasts, they made her give the strongest response of all. Every time I rubbed them, every time I caressed them, she gave the smallest moan. She had very sensitive breasts, I remembered. I remembered there was an even more sensitive bit while I brought my hands up to her nipples. Well, not really brought my hands to, it was more of a feeling around thing because it was dark. Still, I'm not even sure I found her nipples because she climaxed while I was roaming around. Maybe I brushed them accidentally, but she went off like a bomb. Most times when you read a story, they'll tell you the two lovers came at the same time, reached that beautiful climax together. Well, that's a load of shit. That never happens with first-time sex with someone. One person is always left out, or one goes first and the other follows. They just say it's at the same time to make it more romantic. Raven was a bit different. She was magical in the way that when she came that second time, I didn't have a choice. That squeezing, that pressure, the muscle convulsions she had performed so beautifully on me the first time, 3 times stronger this time. Yep, when I say we came together, it's because I didn't have a choice. The climax itself was wonderful. The words to explain it would be impossible, but I'll get as close as I can. It was like a Kerr vacuum. No sensations, no time. She was back to hugging me. I'm sure I had even experienced a bit of torque-free procession, as unlikely as that sounds. At the very least, we had moved a quarter neon. How far was beyond me, but all I knew that my Tipler cylinder was meeting hers. Frankly, if it wasn't for the chronology protection conjecture, and the fact that it would break the Novikov self-consistency principle, I would have gladly gone back multiple times and done it again. Whatever it was, we had passed a Cauchy horizon. No going back now. When we stopped moving, when the water stopped splashing, there was a sense of completion that hadn't been there before. Maybe it was the darkness heightening the atmosphere, the labored breathing of both of us in the pitch black. Maybe it was the fingers digging so tightly into my back that it hurt. Maybe it was my hands doing nearly the same to her. Maybe it was the fact that I had just deposited a huge load of sperm into my best friend. Probably that last one. But it was still all of the things above it too, don't get me wrong, but on my male mind, the only real thought was that it was the second girl in 2 days I'd marked completely as my own. No matter how temporary that may prove to be. I was still hard, and I know she was still willing, but I'm tired and she's tired. I think sex needs to stop for the sake of being exhausted. I bring my hands back to her sides and manage a bit of a weak tickle. She giggles, and I remember what that feels like. I think I might actually act out my plan of getting her to laugh me off. It's really not a bad plan. I start tickling. I don't get very far before the magic words come in. Stop, I have to pee. God damn it. I don't want to move. I don't want her to move. I'd like to stay inside of her for a little while more. My penis is happy in there. I weigh the options. Move, don't move. I go through an awfully contorted round of thought. It goes from me having swum in pools with her before to the most likely having relieved herself in some of those pools. I mean, everyone does it. Not to mention her girl parts currently being underwater. Yeah, fuck it. I tell her to go ahead and pee. This goes over about as well as you'd expect. First, there's embarrassment. Little bit of anger. I get called a pervert. And some of that pleading stuff to let her get up. I've got my hands on her waist and I make it very clear she's not leaving. Then denial, as to be expected. The good ol' I don't have to pee anymore trick. I start tickling again. I lied, please stop. I stop. This is fun. She's pleading again. I don't have to really argue about it. I tell her it's pitch black. I won't see her. There's water between us, so I won't even feel it. I also offer to tickle or press it out of her if she tries to leave me there. She's resistant to the idea. I make up some excuse about wanting to feel what it's like when her bladder is contracting. She seems oddly compliant with this idea. It's like I bring up sex things and she's all in it for me. I put this out of my mind and she says, fine, and starts to tense up. I didn't feel it at all. There was a temperature change in the water between and directly around us. It gets warmer. Hot. Directly above my crotch. That was it. The most interesting part was that I could feel the muscles inside her expelling the liquid. I could almost feel her stomach, navel cavity change shape as the urine left her bladder. I think while we were having sex, I was pressing against it. Interesting. Not particularly arousing, but still cool nonetheless. It's been a very educational experience. Well, until she points out the water is now full of piss. Right, I guess we should probably drain it and start fresh or something. I don't want to move though. Master plan time. I don't even move my upper body. Just shift over a bit and throw my foot in the air towards the faucet. I manage to find the drain bit and pull it with my toes. Works like a charm. The water is draining, but now I'm lying on my back in the water with her above me. The water is slowly draining. I think I'm actually pretty comfy where I am. The air in the bathroom is pretty warm since all of the steam, so it's not too cold as the water lowers. I'm not really too sleepy, just tired. I don't know about her, but I wrap her up in as many of my legs as I can and pull her close to me as we lie there in the slowly draining water. Eventually, the water is gone. We're lying naked together. I contemplate going to sleep. It would be nice. I almost think she's gone to sleep again, but I'm interrupted by a scraping sound. I only try thinking about what it could be for half a second. The door. The cabinet that had been blocking the door was being moved. Oh no, oh shit, oh no, oh shit. If you had forgotten, I was lying naked in a pitch black bathroom in the bathtub with my penis very much still inside of my childhood friend. And 3 out of the 4 of the girls that could be outside that door would probably kill me if they found out. Our clothes were somewhere on the dark floor, in soaking puddles of water and probably chunks of vomit. We had just emptied the tub, so there was no way to wash them without alerting the girls. There were no towels in the bathroom, nothing to cover ourselves with. There was no light, so finding an escape route would be impossible. I really doubt you forgot, though. I was fucked in every literal, figurative, and some neo-non-classical instances of speech. Well, I would have been completely fucked if I hadn't been holding in my arms one of the most brilliant girls I'd ever met. We hear the grunts and stomps of the girls outside. In my panicked mind, it sounded like an army of angry rhinoceroses, but if they had known that, they would have killed me harder. Rearranging and undoing whatever voodoo magic they had used to seal the door close. Tribal chants, rain dances, ritual sacrifice, you know. Raven and I have absolutely no clue what we're supposed to do. So, of course, we do the smartest thing. Nothing. We just lie there, hugging one another in frozen fear. Our best plan. But the grinding and scraping abruptly stops. Hey, are you two friends again? Straight to the point, as always, birthday. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say. Do I say, yeah, we're friends again? Are we friends again? I did try to kill her. We probably aren't friends again, but I mean, we did have sex. We probably aren't friends again. It was really good, though. Yeah, we're probably not friends. I didn't get a chance to announce my conclusive findings, however. Raven has come to the same conclusion. No, we can't be friends anymore. Oh, ouch, that actually kinda hurt. You're kind of a dick, Raven. My remaining heartstrings just all kinds of snapped at the same time. It was probably twice as painful as I had just said it myself. Actually, really hurt. About to show this bitch what I'm thinking. About not being Wait a minute. That card. Let me go over the tapes. Slow-mo. No, we can't be friends anymore. Friends. Liberty Bell. Can't be friends. Oh, that makes perfect sense, actually. She's implying we're something more now. That's kinda cute, Raven. Sorry for calling you a bitch in my head. Yeah, I actually said sorry out of the blue. It was quiet. Only she heard it, but the rest of the thought just didn't come across. I do that sometimes. Rarely, but sometimes. I always imagine people that say sorry constantly are doing the same thing. Entire conversations, entire wins and losses that they feel bad for, and all you get is the sorry. I'm sure she looked at me funny. Actually, I think she rolled a natural 20 because her glare of "cause awkward discomfort" hit, even though I couldn't see her. It's okay, she deserved the sorry. She takes it kind of funny though, because she wraps her arms around me and hugs me tighter. The girls outside the door are letting out various noises. There's a bunch of sighs, a couple of "I told you so's," and Birthday, who seems to just be really angry for some reason. Fine, we'll lock you in there longer. It's birthday. She sounds exasperated and furious, like her master plan had failed. Whew. We're safe. More dark bathroom sexy times confirmed. That's mean, birthday. We should let them out. It's Blondie, dooming us all. The other girls seem to agree with Blondie. Yeah, they've been in there long enough. Homely, please stop. Don't say any more. That was a stupid idea anyways. Classes, no, you don't understand. Fine. Birthday, no, don't agree. Fight them, please. Just fight against them. We'll let them out. No, please. Loki, Thor, Zeus, Apollo, Aquaman, save me. The scraping resumes outside. It had to be them moving the cabinet all the way away from the door. I didn't have the option of not moving anymore. I had to get up and act. So I start to pull away from Raven, climb out of the bathtub, except she won't let me. She won't let go. She's hugging me as tightly as she can. Even managed to get her legs behind my hips. She whispers in my ear, quiet, soft, and confident. Let them see. Brilliant, I tell you. Brilliant at getting me killed. Yep, that's it, Anons. This is the part where the girls opened the door and I was murdered. Just a brutal thing. Blood all over the bathtub, the walls. Most of my gentleman bits ended up in the toilet and were flushed away. Not a pretty sight. But that's a lie. That's what would happen if I hadn't been holding one of the most brilliant girls I'd ever met in my arms. Because she was holding one of the unluckiest males at surviving female encounters unscathed she'd ever met in hers. And he had a plan. A terrible, unlikely to go well plan. Wait, he yelled. We need clothes, he screamed. The girls flitted around like angry shrimp outside the door. What do you mean, clothes? The birthday girl growled. Ooh, what were you two doing in there? Homely squealed in excitement. Be quiet, he yelled. This is your fault, he cried. You threw us into a bathroom, cold and wet. His words echoed through that very place. Raven's still sick. Pizza didn't go down well. He tried to sound confident. He tried to make them understand his lie. The girl he was with didn't like it one bit. She started to complain before he clasped his hand over her mouth and held her close. She would have to let go, to squirm away to talk. Trapped in a vice of her own creation, the girl stayed silent. He continued his elaborate ruse. She threw up. It didn't go well. His voice was somber, his feelings clear. His plan had worked. The girls felt bad. Guilt for trapping a sick friend. Guilt for the darkness, and guilt for the most imaginative, awful situations that had transpired. The guilt card. Remember, it's the most effective at winning any situation involving women Anons. My impossible task completed, I now had an explanation for why we were naked, wet, and our clothes were on the floor. I didn't have to explain what had happened. They would do that in their heads with their guilt. But that penis part, that's gonna get me. I'm pretty sure no matter how convincing I am, I can't get the girls to believe it slipped in. The girls are outside discussing what to do about this whole clothes situation, buying us time. Raven, please let go. No, I'm doomed. Blondie outside has established that we've both seen her naked, so she'll go get the clothes and bring them to us. Double doomed. I have time. I can bargain with Raven, plead and beg for my life. What do you want? I'm frantic but quiet. I don't want the girls outside to hear. You. One word. A whisper. I'm triple doomed. I try to tell her that I don't negotiate with terrorists, that I can't give her what she wants right now, that she's got to release the hostage and we'll talk. She's not having any of it. She's unmoving, firm. Her terms are clear. The snipers don't have a clear shot. She might kill the hostage if I try to help it escape. I've got no plans. No ways out of this. Might as well go out in the burst of glory, I guess. I inform the hostage he's on his own. We're pulling out. Then I start pumping into her again. As much as she'll allow with how tightly she's holding me. As little as it is, after a couple thrusts, she completely relaxes her grip and stance. I see I might have an opening. I pull out further and further each time. It's a trick, silly girl. You can't comprehend my master planning, even if it was just being horny. Sometimes that's a plan, I guess. I get to pull out more and more each time. I know my time is running out. Blondie could be back at any minute. The progress is slow, but each time I pull out, I press into her, harder and faster. I know she's got to drop her guard sometime. The moment arrives. I reach the threshold. The tip is all that's left to pull out. All I have to do is move my hips backward just a bit. Ah, fuck it. I plunge all the way back to the hilt. There's a loud gasp from the girl sitting on my lap. I'm almost worried the girls outside hear it. I'm not quite sure how they don't hear the wet squelching sounds. No slapping. I was smarter than that. Had to be slow at the very base. So I go back to shamelessly fucking Raven's brains out. It's desperate. We both know we have no time left. We can hear footsteps in the distance, getting closer each thrust. The girls are making small talk outside. They weren't saying anything important, but the fact that they were so close was electrifying, terrifying, and hot as fuck. Raven's still completely silent aside from breathing, a boon in this situation if there ever was one. But it was all too soon before we heard the footsteps settle outside, our frantic pace still too slow to reach the climax I desperately wanted. The door handle began to turn, the jiggling, clicking, ringing in our ears. I pulled out completely. I pushed her softly down beside me, both lying on our backs in the darkness. Blondie didn't take long to close the door behind her and find us with the flashlight. We had both been seconds away from discovery, and from getting off. I have a blank sheet of paper right here. It's got a list of all the things I wouldn't give to just have 20 more seconds before Blondie showed up. But we were lying on our backs, safe now, as frustrating as that was. There was still a problem, though. I had a raging boner, and Blondie had just shined her flashlight directly on it. Quadruple doomed. Except for that brilliant girl part. You see, maybe Raven was teasing me before about letting them find us together. Maybe all she wanted was to roll away at the last second like we had done, riding the edge of excitement. Or maybe I had changed her mind. Whatever it was, she played the part perfectly. Raven squealed seconds after the flashlight hit my crotch. "Ew, you're hard! Disgusting!" She punctuated this by jumping up and moving away from me in the bathtub. Her acting was priceless, perfect. The laughter outside assured me the women had heard. It also helped the boner start to die a shameful, sad death. Blondie hadn't moved, but I could imagine she had wide eyes behind that beam of the flashlight. She seemed properly diffused by Raven's acting. No anger at seeing me hard for another female. You see, Anons, by Raven pretending she didn't know I had a hard-on, the situation changed from erotic to just me being a typical male pervert. No jealousy against Raven at all. Miraculous success, all limbs intact. She hands us a pile of clothing, each, and we begin dressing. She's staring at me the entire time. I don't feel like a piece of meat. We seem to have clothes on again. Jeans, red girls' boxers, and a green t-shirt. The t-shirt was actually pretty small. Might have been a really old one of birthdays before she had a chest. Really accentuated my lack of manly muscle pretty well. Blondie and her elaborate fashion skills has given Raven a matching outfit. Again, jean skirt and a green tank top, but it seems Birthday is running out of clothes because she gets some worn-looking white panties to go with it. I guess 5 people constantly needing to change for stupid reasons does that to a girl's assortment of clothing. That, or she just didn't have any pairs of red panties. I silently hoped it was the first one. We're able to inspect the damage done to the bathroom with the flashlight Blondie brought in. There's actually a lake on the floor. Our clothes are indeed soaking wet and have what look to be digested chunks of partially digested pizza on them. There's blood all over one of the rims of the bathtub. I turn the flashlight away quickly and focus it on the mess of the floor. I indicate that we should clean it up to Blondie, trying to distract her from what I've seen. Blood. Fuck, I panic. I look at Raven, thinking I heard her somewhere and I didn't realize, trying to piece together if it was like broke her cherry or something and somehow got blood up there. It didn't make sense. We were in the water. The flashlight's light glances across her arms for a moment. Her fingernails are blood red. She's got brown and dark red splattering all across the backs of her hands. She had held them on my back or shoulders the entire time. They weren't in the water. I'm worried. I had deep scratches on my back and didn't realize it. Maybe I leaned against the rim of the tub. That must be it. I take her aside and force her to wash her hands, wash away the blood. I'm trying to get her to check my back for me without Blondie realizing. If I was bleeding that much, it might bleed through the shirt, and that would be really bad. Besides, showing the girls some crazy shit went down, it would ruin Birthday's shirt. Blood is awful to get out of clothes, Anons. We're picking up the clothes and throwing them in the tub. Blondie calls for towels from outside, and the girls scurry off. I manage to get the hints across to Raven. I hand her the flashlight and she checks my back. Nothing. What the hell? I return to cleaning up the clothes on the ground and trying to fix this dark bathroom disaster. Then the light from the flashlight shines on my left-hand wrist. Blood. Everywhere. It looked like my wrist had gone through a barbed wire fence. Fuck. What happened? What did I do? I rush over to the sink and start cleaning away the dried blood. I could see the skin through the faint light of the flashlight. Deep, long scratches up and down my forearms. Tears, cuts, some of them still bleeding. I might have been dripping all over the floor for all I knew. Fuck, these look terrible. They didn't hurt, actually. I mean, stung a little when I put water on them, and they were obviously bleeding, but they didn't hurt too bad. It was alright. I would live. But there was no way in hell I was hiding this from anyone. I feel a head lean over my shoulder as I'm trying to clean my arms off. A gasp. That's not one of the gasps I had been listening to for the last hour. It's Blondie. I'm fucked. I'm trying to turn around and get a hand over her mouth. I'm way too slow for that. She's screaming. Everyone barges into the bathroom. Flashlights everywhere. Can't hide anything. There's blood on the floor, on the rim of the bathtub. There's the ever-present question of, what happened? A question I can't answer. I can't tell them what went on in here. Not even slightly. I'm attacked with questions. I don't have a choice but to make something up. I have no answers I can give. It was, Raven. The girl interrupts me. All flashlights instantly focused on her face. We fought. Eventually, he understood my point of view. She swallows hard as she says this. This goes down surprisingly well. There's quite a bit of screaming from Birthday. I couldn't really hear what was being said over the volume. Lots of anger, though. Lots of threats of violence. Homely is screaming too, right in Raven's ear. She's shriveled up into a corner, taking it all without saying a word. Glasses is telling Birthday how stupid she is for locking us up together. Blondie is trying to pull me away, off to the kitchen to bandage me up or something. She does play the healer, after all. I'm whisked away by Glasses and Blondie. They get me halfway across the room via medevac. I stop them. I frantically whisper to Glasses, they don't understand. Don't let them hurt her. I didn't know what Birthday was capable of, but I wasn't liking the sound of whatever was crashing and being thrown in the bathroom. Blondie still whisks me away, leaving a pair of slightly confused Glasses hovering and shining, the vanishing beam of the flashlight diminishing as we leave the room. Whatever sounds were going on in the bathroom, as soon as we reached the hallway, they quieted down. I hoped this meant Glasses was doing what I asked her to, and not that section of the house was really soundproof. All I could hear was our footsteps on the cold hardwood floors, and the barrages of questions that I refused to answer. Blondie was trying, each one more inquisitive. What happened? Did she hurt you anywhere else? Are you feeling all right? Dizzy or anything? Did you at least get her back? That last one made me laugh a bit. Oh man, if only she knew. I handed Blondie the yes she wanted. She seemed to be satisfied with this answer as we reached the kitchen. There's a candle lit by the sink, and a big flashlight Blondie grabs and turns on. Much better light to inspect the damage. Now, Anons, you might think, oh, they can't be that bad. I think you misunderstand. Humans that fear for their lives do not go down without a fight. Our bodies pump adrenaline until we're going to burst when our lives or the lives of a loved one are in danger, and this gives us strength far beyond what we are normally capable. Dying men can bend steel. Mothers can lift entire cars to save a trapped child. The dying in this case was Raven, a teenage girl with short but rather sharp fingernails. Her scratching, scrabbling at the wrists and arms of me. The person holding her down was powerful enough to rip through my flesh and leave deep cuts to the muscle. If she had any longer fingernails, I have no doubt I would have severed an artery. In this case, they weren't life-threatening, but I deserved it, and I would probably have a scar or two to remember that moment by. Oh, and it didn't hurt at all because I hadn't been able to see it. As soon as we got a good look, I was doing a mental ow, realizing how deep some were. Blondie seemed pretty worried about them. Making a big deal out of nothing, I tried to assure her, but she wouldn't take that as an answer. She left, rummaged around in a drawer, and came back with a first aid kit. It always amazes me how some women seem to always know where everything is in houses that don't belong to them. Would have taken me days to find that kit. I'm not really with her in thought, though. I'm staring out the kitchen window. It's still kinda raining, very softly outside. I can see the drops splattering against the window pane, like blood. Fuck, I was feeling pretty shit after seeing my wrists. I definitely deserved what happened to them. What the fuck was wrong with me for acting the way I did? Plans to grovel at Raven's feet later are soon formed. I'll have to buy her My thoughts are interrupted as I see a flash of silver in Blondie's hand. She's unscrewed the cap of a bottle from the kit. She's holding my arm in the sink. It's alcohol. Blondie, no. It's too late. I ripped my arms away too late. She's already covered them in a liberal amount of the burning, stinging liquid. A liquid that you absolutely should never, ever, ever pour into deep wounds. I'm on the ground screaming. Actual screaming. Actual fucking screaming. Fucking alcohol is for fucking small cuts. And even then, you rarely fucking need it. But not fucking mauled by a tiger, entire fucking wrists are bloody cuts. That was just fucking cruel. This was an agonizing, fucking burning pain. I'm screaming obscenities at her, at the kitchen, insulting various appliances. She knows she's fucked up. She's quickly on the ground, fucking trying to dry my wrists off with a fucking towel as I'm letting out fuck, ow, of fucking suffering. It's really not fucking helping. It really fucking hurts. Fuck. Around Blondie, never relax. Every time I let my guard down, she hurts me in some horrible new way. It's impressive, actually. I've got to stop trusting her. But as soon as the pain has faded to some tolerable levels of every other wound I had sustained from this sleepover, I opened my eyes. Big mistake. She was kneeling over me, trying to make sure I was okay. Her face had a real look of concern, a practiced guise for an assassin of her caliber. Her eyes were wide, her face frowning and worried. But it worked. My heart melted. I'm so sorry, I keep hurting you. Her voice is a songbird's saddened cry. She clasps my hands in her own, the warmth against my fingers matching roughly the burning heat of my wrists. Every time I try to help you or you try to help me, you get hurt. She's got a distinct frowny face on. That one, right there. It's making me sad just looking at it. I can't help but forgive her. I mean, not really forgive her, but, you know, I say a couple choice words. You owe me so much. I was really not painless during those words. Probably grimaced them out. Those words. She better fucking believe it. She seems to already know, though. I know. I'm so sorry. I even slapped you earlier and you didn't deserve it. What? Why didn't I deserve it now? She sounded sincere as fuck. Glasses told me she stole your boxers while you were showering as a prank. Glasses is such a bro. I feel bad. You were saying such nice things. I'll be honest, Anons. You might remember, but I don't remember any of the nice things I was saying. When they call it whispering sweet nothings, that's because they are nothings. I was too preoccupied with everything hurting. I think the alcohol had shocked the rest of my body and hurting again. Had some endorphins left, keeping me happy. Yeah, those were gone. God fucking damn it. Fucking Blondie. Fuck. I get back up and rush over to the sink to wash my cuts again. This time, keeping Blondie at arm's length. She's not allowed. Worst healer ever. She's still trying to get close and help again, though. Please don't push me away. That sounded cliche, Blondie. What are you trying to say? You're so nice to me, and then I just keep hurting you. Songbirds crying. She needed to stop that. It was making me sad. I'm not falling for her charms, though. I know better now. Well, I thought I knew better. Come on, I can make it up to you. Her voice was chipper. She seemed to be trying to cheer herself and me up. I'm thinking about it. I grab her wrists and hold them together above her head. It's cute, like I have a little marionette. If I wanted, I could twist her and turn her any direction I willed. But I didn't twist and turn her. I just pulled her arms up until she was on her tiptoes. I knew what I wanted. I glared her in the eyes, a hard, cold stare as serious as I could be. Stop hurting me first. There, I said it. I think she was expecting something completely different. Her frown vanished. Her eyes drooped slightly. I couldn't see her eyes as well as I wanted, but the sky blue turned a cloudy gray. I dropped her arms and decided it was time to walk away, return back to my mess in the bathroom, help clean it maybe. I trusted Glasses had solved the situation amicably, but I wanted to make sure. Not to mention, every moment I spent near Blondie was endangering my life. I kinda left her there. I doubt she was crying or anything, but I doubt she was taking it badly at all. Blondie had a habit of taking things like that and making them better. In her head, in reality, whatever she did, she was most likely working out ways in her head to inform her employers that she couldn't complete the job, tell them she was alright with not getting paid, that I just wasn't worth it. She was a strong girl. I worried, but I kinda wanted nothing to do with her. Stay as far away from her as possible. Just maybe, I might survive. But little did I know. I returned to the bedroom. I had grabbed a roll of those gauze bandage wraps and was rolling them absent-mindedly over the cuts as I walked. I kinda had them wrapped enough to hold my arms together, so I figured I was good. Cut the roll with my teeth, made a crappy knot on each wrist, and pocketed the rest. I imagined that I probably looked like some edgy, shirtless anime protagonist. I didn't. But I sure felt beat the fuck up, like one after a serious battle. I walked in to find Raven having what seemed to be a timeout on the bed. Arms crossed, pout on her face. She looked like a very unhappy girl. I make the mistake of trying to sit next to her on the bed. Get away from me, Storybro! My full name here. Rare. This is angry, unhappy girl yelling. Eep, sorry, Raven. She's either in an awful mood or still trying to convince everyone we're on bad terms. I pray for my life that it's the second one. Her outburst is matched by Homely telling me to stay away from Raven, and that she's in trouble. It's like they're implying she's getting punished or something. Birthday confirms this is the case. Alright, I'll get the hot wax and oil, I guess. They're just not sure how they want to punish her yet. Cleaning the bathroom while they decide. I join them. Might as well. I end up with a washcloth, rubbing away the blood I'd left all over the place. I feel a little better scrubbing it away. Made it feel like I was erasing what happened here. They're coming up with all kinds of silly and insane punishments. Making her make us food and be everyone's butler for the rest of the night. Making her be a footrest for everyone next time we play Vidya. Making her service us all at once. The last one was Birthday's idea. I was kind of worried as to what that meant. I offered to come up with and deal the punishment for Raven myself. Why not, right? I could pretend I was evil and harsh, and I would do anything mean at all. I turned around and give her a glaring face wink as I try to make this move. You can't. You were her friend. This is Homely. I try to establish how inanely girl-logically this is. You know that entire part about how I'm somehow going to be nicer to her because the crime was against me? Why I tried, I honestly don't know. I mean, she was right. That was my plan. But her reason, the typical, you just don't understand the situation, response. I swear. Fuck women. Seriously. The bathroom cleaning goes rather quickly with 4 people. The clothes are wheeled out by Homely after a quick rinse and the blood is mostly gone. All the wet towels to follow the clothing to the laundry room. After we're done, it's back to being more or less the same level of clean it had started. Job well done. I try to plop back down on the bed near Raven. She just scooches away. Still acting, I hope. The girls see her actions and take it as some kind of sign that I was open. Glasses is the victor of the race and ends up in my lap, straddling me as I lay down on the bed. Homely and Birthday don't take this too well, with pouts and everything. Glasses gives no shits. All I know is that I'm being snuggled from above for a full 5 or 6 minutes before it's decided what we're going to do next. Birthday makes the announcement. Back to poker. Alright. Dare only poker. I can handle that. Raven's not allowed to play. Fuck that shit. No, seriously, just fuck that shit. Those are the words that came out of my mouth. I also called Birthday a bitch, shit friend, and accused her of trying to start shit between everyone. This made her shut up quick with her rules. Either everyone plays or we don't play at all. Them's the rules. I threw down. Nobody has any argument. Alright, bitches, we playin' poker. So fucking done with Birthday's rules. That's all I'm thinking as we trudge along as a group out of the bedroom. Raven manages to sneak up beside me and give my arm a little squeeze. I take this as a, I'm not mad at you and thanks for getting me into the poker kind of message, but knowing Raven, it could have been anything. Listen, there's polar bears chasing us. We should hurry up. I think Glasses is wearing white underwear. So pure. I hate you. I pretend her squeeze meant the thing I wanted it to mean, though. The rest of the gaggle of girls is relatively quiet. I guess me yelling at Birthday kinda dampened the moods. It didn't matter in my head. I really wasn't going to deal with more of this cutting people out of the fun, female drama that kept going down. Competition is alright and good, but when you start cutting out your friends to win, that sucks, man. We arrive at the living room and Blondie is already there lounging on the couch. Probably assumed we would show up eventually. She was right. There's the old setup of 2 candles, a couple flashlights, and the room is bright enough to play cards by. Can even see a clock on the wall. 9:15. They had us locked in that bathroom for like 2 hours. Dicks. We set up in a rather large circle, sitting knee to knee, cross-legged. At least I do. Blondie does and Glasses does. Homely isn't wearing pants still, and Birthday and Raven are wearing skirts. Can't have them appearing non-ladylike, can we? Even though I had seen most of the feminine charms of every girl in the circle, they were all modest as mice. Cute. Let's fix that. I throw down the rules. Poker. No fancy card value bullshit. Normal rules. Winning hand gets a single dare against a single person. You can choose to not perform a dare, but the next dare you win is forfeit to cancel it. If you're already in debt, you can either choose to do the old dare or the new one, but whichever one you don't choose is now in your debt pile. Can't give the same dare to someone holding on to it already. Simple. Gives people an out from doing things they really don't want to. Always a buzzkill when someone gets dared to do something too far and quits the game, but make sure they can't cop out of everything. Plus, I'm really fucking good at poker when I'm paying attention. I hand the deck to Glasses. She cuts, shuffles it kinda funny, and deals. I get a royal flush. That's not even being good at poker. It's like some heaven-sent sign that my luck is going to change. Oh man. This is gonna be great. Blondie. Shirt off. I don't even hesitate. They've all got clothes back on, and I had them so nicely half undressed too from before. Frankly, if I can get topless, I would be happy. I'll hold on to it. What? Come on, Blondie, I know you have a bra on. That's not even a bad dare. We were all so happy without shirts earlier. I mean, I was happy. She doesn't seem to want to change her mind. Man, Blondie, you suck. Alright, whatever. Next hand is dealt. I win this one too. Amazing cards. I can't challenge Blondie again, so I just move down the line. Alright, Birthday. Shirt off. I'll hold... Wait, seriously? This is some bullshit. 2 hands later and I'm just confused. Firstly, I'm winning by miles every time. Amazing cards. I don't even have to hit. That's absurd by poker standards. Secondly, nobody seems to be hitting besides Raven. They're just giving up the hands they have. Next up, Glasses and Homely also refuse to take off their respective shirts. Homely, I understand. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's straight to tits, free. But Glasses? I've got an odd feeling something is horribly wrong here. Next hand is dealt. I win again. I was even watching Glasses' hands this time. She didn't feed me anything special. At least it looked like she didn't. It comes to mind that the girls had just rigged the deck and were biding time until it got properly shuffled. I wasn't okay with this. I was pretty sure Glasses was responsible, or they hadn't planned on having Raven here in the first place and the entire order was fucked. I asked to see the cards for a second. No, you might cheat, Homely. Glasses has her, this wasn't my idea, for once, face on. Yeah, the deck is rigged. Now, rigged poker isn't actually very easy to set up. For a hand or two, sure, but not 5 hands. You have to know how many players you're going to have, and they all have to know how many cards are in between hands and make sure everyone takes exactly that many cards. This was something that they had been planning, all while I was in the bathroom with Raven. Comical, really, that this is what they were doing while we were trying to kill one another. From what I could assume, the main plan belonged to Birthday. She was most likely supposed to be dealing the cards, until I shamed her and handed the deck to Glasses. Little Miss Clever was feeding me the rigged hands instead of whoever was supposed to get them. Awesome, but Birthday had tried to exclude Raven from the game, which meant that they were probably planning to exclude her anyways because we weren't getting along. Not awesome. This is probably why everyone was barely taking any cards either. Glasses was dealing the hit pile to Raven to fill in the last player. Glasses was also emptying the hit pile herself every turn Raven didn't, to keep the hands going to me. The other girls were just letting it happen. I actually don't know why they didn't stop it. Scared of getting caught, I guess. This was a joint ops tactical plan that had gone very, very wrong for them. I glare around the circle. They think I'm contemplating who to dare. Homely, Blondie, Birthday, Glasses. I pronounce each name as a shout. Each of them jump when I start yelling. I get them to stand up. There be a reckoning a-brewin'. They could feel it in their bones. Them's ladies get off their feet like old Heller at dinner time. A little shaky, but they get there. Now listen up, lassies. I tell 'em there be cheating involved here, don't you know? Each one of 'em looks sadder than a man lost his bottle, if you know what I mean. Eyes to the floor lower than a begging fool. The blonde one denied it like a kid being caught chasing the neighbor's chickens into the trees. The just turned 15 lass got angrier than that howling storm took down that tree up on Potter's Hill last fall, and the last two were silent, like a pair caught romping in the hay bales top the stables. Till the woman with Glasses broke the silence and distanced herself from the deed. 'Twas a sight to behold for sure. 4 sorry-ass lasses, ready 'bout do anything, get in my good graces again. I admit, mad as I may seem, they sure were a kind view for those poor eyes. Now, I've really got no clue what I was planning to do here. I mean, I wasn't actually angry that they tried to rig the deck. I imagine they wanted to take advantage of me somehow. As much as I should have known better, my teenage mind just kept jumping to the most dirty conclusions to getting forced to complete dares, so I imagined it wouldn't have been too bad. I was curious, but that reality had not come to pass. No, what I was angry about was the fact that they had seemingly planned to exclude Raven out of the game. This was really starting to be the point where the girls were acting really scummy towards one another. I don't know if it was competition or what, but it was noticeable. Raven was standing behind me as well, surprised and confused at my yelling. So I unload the crushing news. She drops her confusion on the floor. She's furious. She'd just taken a ton of flack from Birthday and Homely, and they were just planning on backstabbing her anyways? I'm telling you, man, this was getting gritty. Raven didn't even let me met out punishment. She just took it right up. I thought we were friends! Guilt. The most painful of punishments. You tried to exclude me, your friend, from the poker game because you're jealous? She punctuated jealous by grabbing onto my arm. I don't think that helped anything. As much as she sounded angry, I felt like it was more of her gloriously good acting. She had a plan. Blondie tries to interrupt. We were going to get you after a couple of hands. That doesn't make it right! The other girls are staring at the floor shamefully. Raven laying the WWE SmackDown down on them. She continues mashing them into the floor with some flying leap slams. Gets them nice and softened up for the finisher. She obviously had some kind of plan she wanted to enact. Something devious. She goes on to tell them that if the cheat hadn't been discovered, they would have won at least 5 or 6 unfair dares against each of us challenged. Oh, I see this train of logic. So, we both get 4 dares, one against each of you, that we can use whenever we want tonight. I love it. Yes, 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 yes. I can envision in my head all the things I'd love to dare the girls to do. I don't even have to do it when the other girls are around, so it can be anything. My inner pervert is gloating, if you couldn't tell. The girls don't like this at all. There's some serious backtalk going on, but the uprising is quickly quelled by Queen Raven and her iron fist of guilt. This is followed by mumbled apologies from Blondie, Homely, Glasses, and silent indignance from Birthday. I figured this was as good as it was going to get. I was completely ready to sit down and reshuffle the deck and continue poker, but Raven wasn't finished yet. Bless her vengeful heart. If you all want to prove you're sorry, you should take the dares that were already given to you. Oh man, Raven. She seems to be completely on my team tonight. but I don't understand why she's doing it. Raven is not a jealousy-free female. I think she's got a bigger plan, cautiously optimistic towards the future. I look towards the girls. They all seem to be contemplating if they want to make amends by removing articles of clothing. It strikes me as sleazy, guilt-induced way to undress them, but I mean, I was a teenage male. Birthday never said sorry to Raven, but it looks like she's feeling the guiltiest of all because she wraps her arms around her waist and discards her shirt first. Her gold bra was actually kinda metallic, dully reflecting the candlelight. Blondie goes next, her blue bra visible to my prying eyes once more. Then Glasses and Homely just shake heads and sit down. Spoil sports. I snatch the deck up from Glasses' lap and thoroughly shuffle the cards. Then hand the deck to Raven. She splits it and starts the deal. Wait, you still didn't use your dare yet. It's Homely. Yeah, I was saving them for later. Respond real quick with this. God, Homely, you're so stupid. Why would I use 4 random dares right now? I got a plan for the future, man. No, you won the last hand. You have one more dare. Oh, that's right. Even if it was a cheated hand, I still had a dare left. Thanks, Homely. I think for a second about what I want to use it on. As is the case with dares, I think about all the super perverted stuff first. Then you tone it back into the really perverted, further back into just perverted, and then all the way back to lewd, but they might be okay with it. I settle on what I want, and I turn to face Raven. Raven, I dare you to take your shirt off. There we go. The entire room should be even now. I hold it. What? Everyone breaks out into laughter at this. It's seemingly funny now. In retrospect, I probably had a hilarious face on. I was not expecting Raven to refuse. She's beaten me again. I just sink back into my seated position and she resumes the deal with a smirk on her face. The first couple of rounds are actually quite boring. Blondie dares Birthday into telling us the truth about the boy she had visited over the summer. It was a cute story, but nothing that interesting. Homely wins a round and negates her carried dare, but doesn't get to do anything herself. Raven wins a round and does the same. The next interesting winner is Birthday. She's got a scowl on her face, so it's pretty obvious she's angry about something, but it changes to an evil smile when she wins. That kind of smile the big bad mastermind has on when he's explaining his evil plan to his henchmen right before he kills one to prove how serious he is. She turns to Glasses. Oh shit, she's angry that Glasses didn't deal her cards. I dare you to make out with Homely for 30 seconds. Birthday, that's cold. Homely gives a complete look of disgust at Birthday, and then Glasses. It screams, why the fuck me? I guess Homely was just cannon fodder in this case, but she was in direct competition with Birthday earlier in the sleepover. Take down 2 rivals in 1 dare. Glasses is amazing though. Without batting an eye, she goes from a flat smile to a beaming grin. Then she drops her arms to her waist and lifts her shirt up and over her head, and she joins the other 2 shirtless females. Oh yeah, she was still holding on to that. Clever girl. Homely has the tiniest bit of disappointment on her face. Or I'm imagining she does. Obviously, my suppressed desires to see various women at the sleepover with one another. We all have those, right? The next couple of hands are uneventful again. Glasses burns off her held dare with a win. Blondie dares my shirt off, and I'm not a dick, so I don't hold it. Goodbye, green t-shirt. Raven is the next winner again. Her first dare. She turns to me. I dare you to pick and hug only 3 girls in this room. Oh, fuck. She added an only. No escape. I don't understand her evil plans one bit. I announce my decision-making process, my brilliant deduction of female value. I'm gonna hug the girls who aren't wearing shirts. Instant sad face from Raven. The fire and smile in her eyes has vanished. She probably thought it was some clever way of ranking the top 3 girls in the room, but she wasn't in the top 3 because she wasn't shirtless, which I'm sure brought back insecurity issues. I can't contemplate it too long, though, before someone speaks up. Well, actually, it's pretty hot in here, so I'm just going to take... Homely is stopped in her tracks by the glaring lasers of every other girl in the room. She kind of sadly drops her arms to her sides dejectedly. Serves her right. Blondie gets a leaping cuddle hug from me first, complete with a little bit of back grope and tickling and plenty of my chest against hers. She's cute and fun to hug. It's a shame I have to pull knives out of my back every time I try. Next up is Glasses. She's soft and romantic as I throw my arms around her. She's also much warmer skin-wise than Blondie, like a searing forest fire of skin. She even giggles as I bring my hands around her lower spine. She's the romantic cuddly one I'm thinking as I pull away. Lastly is Birthday. It's more of a flying leap for her. She ends up on the ground, and I end up hugging and giggling above her. She's not just letting me hug her, though. She's got her hands all over me, even a cup or two of my crotch in the tickle fight that ensues from our roaming hands. I eventually pull back with twice as many boners as I started with. Birthday. She's definitely the most hands-on in many ways. Dare completed. We resume playing. The next winner is Blondie. She pretends to contemplate a dare for about 20 seconds. Then she just blurts out towards me, "I dare you to kiss the girl in the room you like the most." Everyone's silent. What the fuck, Blondie? Homely already dared me to do this earlier today. You didn't even say only like Raven did to make sure I couldn't worm out of it. You're not even trying. Unless... Oh. You want me to kiss you again, huh? She goes bright red when I say these words. She's been caught. She even tries to go Sundari and save face. Why would I ever want to kiss you? I'm not buying it, but the Sundari was cute. She was also beyond awful at it. Come on, that wasn't even an excuse. I think I might have actually pulled it as a direct quote from some anime. Just change your dare and ask me to kiss you. I don't mix words. If she wants a kiss, she wants a kiss. All the eyes in the room are on Blondie. She mumbles something. She's not sitting close to me, so I can't hear, but Homely makes a scene out of it with a, "What's that? Repeat it louder!" Typical Homely, really. Blondie gets the hint, though, and blurts out, "I want you to kiss me like you love me." Whoa. L word dropped. Whole room is silent now. You don't drop the L word, Anons. Not in a situation like this. It's suicide. The girls are too surprised to even be jealous. Homely wasn't as surprised, though. She was making a scene because she heard full well what Blondie had said the first time. She just wanted to start the teasing first. Wow, you love him? She's trying to incite a make fun of Blondie situation. If you've ever been in that kind of situation, Anons, there's no escape. If a single other girl had started teasing Blondie, she would have been trapped in an endless loop of shame. It would have been all over for the poor girl. But they didn't. They were quiet. Long enough for her to stammer back, "No, I just wanted to know what it feels like." She's practically melting into a red puddle on the floor with how profusely she's blushing. "He's the only person I've ever kissed before." Aw, Blondie, you didn't tell me that. I didn't know that the first time you tried to kill me was your first kiss as well. That's almost romantic in two ways. I think we have a real connection here. There are sweet awws across the room. Blondie melting even girls' hearts now. So cute. I don't have any choice, or any objections, really. I start to move forward before I find a hand on my own, stopping me. It's Raven. I look back at her, and she gives me a, "You don't want to do that" face. No, Raven, don't do this to me. You're going to break Blondie's heart. Raven tells the group, "1 second," and drags me off. I don't have a choice but to follow. I get dragged to the small bathroom. The door is closed and locked. Raven turns towards me, my look of, "What the fuck?" Seriously, Raven, you better have a good damn reason for bringing me in here. You taste awful. What? She hands me a toothbrush. Oh, right. I grabbed the same toothpaste and toothbrush I had used with Blondie earlier and began brushing. Took a good minute, made sure everything was clean and fresh. Did 2 or 3 rinses with water to take the edge off the taste of the toothpaste too. All good, I say with a grin. Thank you for the save, Not yet. She pulls me close and kisses me. It's not a long kiss, just enough for her to get a tongue in my mouth and a good taste. She pulls away, leaving me hanging there with my mouth open. Cinnamon. Perfect. It's her favorite flavor. Go give her a kiss to remember. She says this as she's shoving me out the door. I'm re-entering the room with a giant problem, though. I don't know how to kiss someone like I love them. Frankly, as far as I could tell, I'm not really sure I had loved anyone yet. Or I didn't even know how to tell I had loved someone. Even though Raven had told me she loved me, I didn't really know how to say the same words back. You don't really know what love is until you've experienced heartbreak. Then you know what you've lost. That wasn't me yet, though. All I knew about love was from media, television, anime, and video games. Frankly, it looked like pretty sappy romantic stuff. Sweep the girl off her feet tenderly, hold her heart in your hands, etc. I could do sappy. I guess I had just kissed her like a teenage boy before. I figure I could give her a mature kiss. That can't be that hard, right? I keep saying that. I've got everyone's eyes on me. I think Raven is getting some glares too for stealing me away temporarily. No questions though. Whew. If I'm going to be on display, I might as well put on a show. This means I strut my stuff right to the middle of the poker circle. I'm sure I didn't look nearly as cool as I pretended I looked. Now for the part that didn't work before when I'd Blondie alone in the bathroom. I extend my hand, palm outstretched towards the sitting blonde girl at my feet. Please take it this time, please take it this time, please take it this time. She places her hand softly in mine. Instead of me hauling her to her feet, however, she simply unfolds her legs and stands along with me. That's good, because hauling her to her feet wouldn't be very lovey-dovey. I lead her back 3 steps to the middle of the circle again. She follows, hand still in hand. She looks absolutely stunning in the candlelight. A smile, small but a smile nonetheless, accompanies her face as she gazes into my eyes. Her eyes are shining softly, as if they're lit from within the sense of hope. I'm still holding her right hand in mine, so I grasp out with my left hand and grasp her too. With a little bit of force, I lift her hands up and twist my wrists around so that my palms face hers. We're standing as if we're mirrored reflections of one another, palms flat and placed against the others like a solid wall until I bend my fingers into the gaps between hers. We're now holding both hands. I have the silly idea that I might be able to pull her closer to me by just pulling on her hands. That doesn't work. It would if she is stiffened up and holding the tension in her arms, but she's not. I've got full wrist control. I pull and only her arms follow. I guess that's good if she was mugging me for crack or something, so the result of me trying to get her close enough to kiss is really just going to be me pulling my arms back as far as I can until she runs out of arms, which wouldn't work at all. It would look awkward as fuck. So I do the smart thing. I step closer, I lean forward, and then I pull out my gun. Our lips make contact. A little bit of a shock, actually. I might be wearing socks on a rug kind of shock. But if you remember, we're both barefoot. Our arms are still outstretched but holding hands, palms facing one another. She's got her eyes closed. I don't even try to force her lips open at first. I concentrate on our hands. I lower and pull them in on either side until we've got them between us, still facing the same direction as they started. Appropriate romantic hand-holding posture accomplished. Stage 2 rockets deploy. Activate tongue. Uh-oh. She hasn't actually opened her lips. I think she kind of got lost in the moment. That, or she didn't realize real lovers kiss with mouths open. They really don't in any media, ever. That's all she knew, though. So that's all she's going to give unless I somehow get her to realize otherwise. I've got to fix that without alerting any of the other girls. I think I have a plan. I pull away from the kiss. She can see all of my face now, and I can see all of hers. I squeeze her hands as I'm holding them. She copies me. A beam. A bright, huge face-covering smile over to her. She copies me. I stick my tongue out at her, and she copies me. Good old playful Blondie. Always predictable. I'm kissing her again before she can pull it back. I manage to touch her tongue with mine as it's trapped between our lips. She gets the hint. We play tongue games here, outside the teeth. It's different than a teenager Frenching. It's reserved, secretive tongue play, the kind you could do in public and nobody would really notice, the kind you do with your mouth almost closed. We continue like that for an endless minute before I decide it's finally enough and pull away. I hadn't even realized until then how closely she was pressing up against me, or how she was arching her heels to kiss me harder. Cute is an understatement. I come back to the world of reality when I realize there's a group hooting and applauding girls surrounding us. Oh, right. I was being watched. And judged. Probably scored. Russian judge probably giving me 10s. Everyone else 3s and 4s. It was an embarrassing breakaway from a kiss, I'll tell you that. All the girls weren't making fun of us, though. Absolute support all the way. Something like that isn't a, make fun of moment. Every girl around that circle was imagining themselves in the same place. It's the heartthrob, romantic moment that every girl wants. Even though it really wasn't that impressive, the kiss itself was lovely, and Blondie had a mixture of the color beet red and happiness plastered all over her face. I wish I had a camera. Perfect blackmail material. The poker game is still what we were playing, though. No matter how great that kiss was, I couldn't just pick up Blondie and carry her away. I look at the clock. It's 10:05. Not bad. Time might be elapsing. We might make it through this blackout in one piece. I keep saying that. Raven deals the next hand. I get awesome cards. Pretty sure my poker face is awful. I can't stop smiling after kissing Blondie. Doesn't matter. I win. Fucking finally. I look around the room, trying to decide who I'm going to meet my punishment on. Someone who hasn't been having any fun yet. Glasses. Alright. I turn to face her. Glasses, I dare you to. I sneak up close to her and whisper in her ear. It's more fun if the other girls don't know what I'm daring her to do. She gets a really surprised look on her face. Then she gives me the, I'm not doing that face. Then I give her the, come on, it would be great face. This goes back and forth a bit until I use my face to point out that it would be pretty hot. Her face agrees. So it's settled then. I return to my seat. Glasses sets her eyes on Raven. Raven sees the way Glasses is looking at her, like bedroom eyes, but from a hungry bear. I get the, oh my god, what did you just do face from Raven. I give her the, just you wait face. Glasses drops to her hands and knees and starts a very slow crawl towards us, like really slow, like turtle speed. Too slow because Raven panics and even tries to escape. I'm not having it though. I grab her leg and she kind of flops over on her back instead of escaping. I don't plan on letting go either. Glasses takes her sweet time, but eventually she's over in the vicinity of the squirming girl I'm holding on to the leg of. I really doubt Raven is scared, but she knows. She knows. Glasses stops the slow crawl shtick and actually kicks herself into a proper speed. In a couple well-placed hand movements, she's now holding herself above Raven's legs. She has her head down about her stomach level. Then she growls. It's cute. It's not a real growl, it's a fake tiger roar, but it's adorable. Raven just stops struggling and lets out a sigh of relief. She thinks that's what was coming to her. I didn't even tell Glasses to do that bit. Glasses knows what she's got to do, though. In a flash, she's got Raven's arms pinned down and I've got both legs. I've got her trapped. Glasses gives another roar. I swear, those make it like 20 times better than it was in my head. She opens her mouth again, but this time it's not a roar. She kind of shifts backwards and leans towards Raven's stomach. Raven can't get away. She's trying, but she can't. Glasses grabs the hem of Raven's shirt in her teeth, starts pulling it upwards. I have an absolutely perfect view from where I'm holding her legs. I watch as she slowly but surely works the hem of the shirt higher and higher. It gets to about halfway up the top of the stomach before she loses grip of it in her teeth. Instead of going back to it, she goes to where she started, places her tongue right where the hem of the shirt initially was, takes a long lick up past the belly button to where the hem was now. I definitely didn't tell her to do that. Raven is giggling and laughing. Ever licked someone's stomach anon? It doesn't need a spoiler. They laugh. Or they say, ew. That happens sometimes. But even with the laughter, we have her pinned down. She can't do anything as Glasses works the shirt higher and higher to the bottom curve of her breasts. Then she stops, changes position, places her teeth on the left side of the shirt and pulls only that part of the hem up. Raven's left breast is the one to be uncovered. The hem is raised just enough to sit above the beginning curve before Glasses repositions again. Right side now. The process repeats. Raven has completely stopped squirming and complaining now. I barely noticed. I was busy enjoying a bottom-up view of one girl undressing the other with her teeth. Outstanding front row seats. Glasses has both breasts exposed now. I'm hoping she'll lick or suck one of them. Hoping. She doesn't. Damn. Instead, she continues raising the hem of the shirt until it's scrunched up against Raven's chin. Now the hard part. I don't really know how this is going to go down, but it can't go down well. Actually, I was wrong. Glasses just lets go of her arms and says, "Raise your hands," in a whisper, quiet enough that I doubt anyone else in the room could hear it but me. Raven just silently complies, her hands above her head. She seems to be enjoying it. Or scheming. Glasses doesn't realize the trap she's fallen into. But she nips the hem and lifts it over Raven's chin and across her face until it's all the way over her head. Their lips were inches away from one another. The entire time I was thinking, now kiss. If I had psychic mind control powers, that would be the moment they manifested in my childhood. But it just wouldn't happen. Plus the shirt was bunched up all on her arms, and Glasses had to sort that out with the more, teeth and pulling, which took quite a bit of time. There was the usual assortment of sexy skin contact during this, Glasses' bra against Raven's stomach and chest, a tummy touch or two. It wasn't until she had the entire shirt fully over the head and Raven's plan became clear. She was just biding her time, waiting until Glasses had the shirt up past her elbows, and Raven leaned upwards and forward at the exposed stomach before her. Raspberry. The girls fell into a giggling and laughing pile. I had long released Raven's legs, so they kind of twirled and attacked one another with a couple fits of tickles. Nothing is as fun as watching two attractive girls tickle wrestle one another, but like all good things, it had to come to an end. Eventually, Raven got up and Glasses followed her. They're smiling. I'm smiling. They look down. I realize they're both staring at the jeans I'm wearing. The jeans are doing nothing to hide the two individual boners I'm sprouting, like the suns on Tatooine, both shining brightly against the denim sky. The girls don't seem to be angry or embarrassed though. They just smile wider and devolve into tickling again. Boners are usually okay if the girls know they were being really sexy. The dare has been completed. Raven is once again topless along with me. Her green t-shirt on the floor along with mine. A couple problems though. 1, I had just proven the dares could be secret. 2, I had just set the precedent to allow one girl to undress another, or me or them. 3, Blondie had technically shown you could dare someone else to do something to you. These were game changers in Waggle Room. You could pretty much ask anyone to do anything and it would happen if you were clever enough. That's dangerous. Raven deals another hand. I get awful cards and Homely wins. That dangerous thing I was talking about? That's Homely. Every time she gets a dare, I lose. She had me in her sights this time. I could feel it. She gets ready to speak. Birthday. I dare you to make out with Glasses for a full minute. Wait, what? Oh, it's revenge for trying to fuck with her earlier. Sweet, sweet revenge, and I guess I'm not involved. Birthday just says she'll hold it. I guess she's not involved either. Cards are dealt again, and Homely wins. Oh shit. Birthday. I dare you to go back to your room and go to sleep for the rest of the evening. Homely's words are dripping with vengeance. Fuck, that's harsh. Make out with Glasses, the current mortal enemy of Birthday, or go to bed. I stop them both, though. I point out that we didn't have any kind of limits on dares in place, and that making a dare that lasts more than a minute or two is kinda cruel. Blondie adds her own opinion to the mix, that we should have a dare committee or something. If you think a dare is really too over the top, you can ask everyone and they'll overturn it if the majority thinks it goes too far. You always hope you don't have to police games of truth or dare, but someone will intentionally abuse it every time if you don't. Homely crossed the line, and we revoke the dare and tell her to retry something else. She's not fazed at all, though. She's a natural at screwing with people and at doing things, it seems. Alright, I dare Birthday to kiss Blondie for 2 minutes. Lol. Fucking relentless. First of all, she was trying to punish Blondie too now, because she revoked the first dare. I find that funny. Blondie doesn't find this funny, however. There's another objection. That's the same dare, or too close to the last one. Blondie is kinda right. You can't really allow that, or else the holding pile is pointless. Otherwise, you can just dare them to do the same thing twice with different phrasing. Dare number 2 denied from Homely. She's still got backups, it seems. This one gives her a huge grin. I already don't like it. I dare Birthday to give Storybro her panties. I lied. I love it. Birthday is wearing a skirt. Step that game up to the max. Birthday initially looks worried. That's definitely a dare meant to try and scare her into kissing Glasses. But then she warms up to the idea. Seriously. She turns that frown upside down. Sure thing. Storybro, come here. Oh man, what? Is kissing Glasses really that bad? I guess so. I liked kissing Glasses though. I'm going to have to reevaluate my kissing metrics. Score them on a curve, remove points where the other women don't want to kiss them. I get up, walk over to Birthday's seat across the circle, and kneel down again. Instead of her getting up or moving, she's still sitting with her knees folded underneath her. Unless you want me to black magic those panties off you, you better move your ass. Instead, she beckons for me to get closer. Fine, do what you want. She whispers in my ear, "They're still in the laundry room. White basket." Oh man, I know the pair. Alright, fine. I get up and walk away from the circle of confusion of everyone. I get to the laundry room. A tad bit of rummaging through wet clothes, towels, and other various garments we've discarded over the 2 days, I find the panties I took off of her earlier, still as unclean as I left them, albeit dried. I scrunch them into a ball in my fist and return to the group of girls. I'm met with looks of confusion. Just hold my fist high in the air, bring one hand to it, and magically procure panties. Fucking magic tricks, man. Nobody was impressed with that magic trick, but they were impressed with the panties. Homely wasn't. She was irked. "I meant the ones you were wearing!" Birthday just nods. "Yeah, I was wearing those earlier." These girls are boundless entertainment, I keep thinking to myself before sitting down and preparing for another round, folding up the underwear and pocketing it. Wait a second. What did she mean still? What did she mean was?